Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Critical Podcast. I'm your host, Jimmy Good, and joining me once again is my go-to podcast compadre, Mr. Joe Lever. Joe, how are you faring this week, my friend?
Quite well, James. Quite well.
Oh, James! Oh my gosh! Well, thank you. It was very official here.
I don't know. When
Thank
he
you,
said, "How are
Joseph.
you faring?" I thought, "Wow, this got very proper all of a sudden."
What can I say? We run a very proper and tight ship here on the Critical Podcast. So tight, leak-proof. I'm just kidding.
You're out of line, soldier.
You're out of line. But you know it's not leak-proof, Joe. The entertainment industry. Ha! I'm just kidding because there's just too many people. You know what I mean? There's just stuff gets out all the time. That's what we're going to be talking about today, because usually we talk about games, movies, TV shows, all that stuff, or just our favorite films. We kind of been doing that a lot lately. But this week, kind of a little bit of rundown for you guys who are listening in, or if you're new here, hi. We're going to talk about all the stuff that Disney, for the most part, Disney announced at their investors call that happened as of this recording last week. So it might be a little bit old news, but we're going to go over it, talk about our thoughts on some of the bigger stuff, because as I told Joe before the show, they announced like a bajillion things. Most of it is for Disney Plus, which is kind of crazy. And before we get to that, I thought this was really fascinating. I don't know. I'm not like crazy into numbers usually. We like to talk about box office stuff like that, or budgets of films, because that's interesting. But Disney originally, when they wanted to launch Disney Plus, they said like within their first like 4 years or something, I think it was, they were like, we want to try to hit like 50 million subscribers. That's a lot of people. But they reported recently, and a lot of this is probably due to the pandemic, but that they have crested over 86. They're at 86.8 million subscribers, and that within 4 years, or by 2024, they would like to hit like 240 something, or some crazy million subscribers number. I was like, that's nuts. So that's a reason you're going to see a lot of these series that are going to be on Disney Plus, as opposed to being, you know, television or more so films that could have been films. So just keep that in mind. So if you're like, why are they doing this so much? They're doing that. HBO Max is doing that. And I don't know. It kind of makes sense. Joe and I, we've talked about this in the past, but these streaming services, they are clearly the new thing. And these people who are getting in on they're not getting in on the ground floor like Netflix did, but they have the ability to create their own premium content themselves and distribute it on their platform only. And I can see why they would want to do that, because they don't have to share any of that with anybody else. They could just be like, yeah, it's on Disney Plus. If you want to watch it, it's on Disney Plus. And if you don't, then too bad. So yeah, it's a big move, and that's what Disney's in the business of doing. But I asked Joe before we started, Star Wars or Marvel. Joe said Star Wars. So we're going to go Star Wars first. All right, Joe? Oh, by the way, full spoilers here, just in case, for things like Mandalorian and stuff. So if you haven't caught up on Mandalorian Season 2 yet, I'm just going to put that out there, because the first thing I'm going to talk about kind of dives in that a little bit. First thing that got announced, Joe, Ahsoka, Disney Plus series. People know Ahsoka Tano from Star Wars Clone Wars, Star Wars Rebels, and now The Mandalorian. She's getting her own Disney Plus series. Not a surprise. I think they talked about this a while ago. But it sounds like it's going to be a series that's kind of running alongside The Mandalorian, might intertwine here and there with it, potentially. What are your thoughts, Joe? What do you think? You're kind of new to Ahsoka.
Yeah, I think there's I saw a little bit of her in the Clone Wars.
Mm-hmm.
She's fine, I guess, in there. I don't get the obsession quite yet.
Sure.
I'm only I'm season 1 Clone Wars, so I don't know a lot. Sure. But from what I saw of her in The Mandalorian, like, I understand how there can be a want there, like, and I don't want to say an obsession, but a likeness to her character, just from like a, how do I want to say, like a vibe, ability, personality, and also aesthetic. I mean, she's an interesting looking character and all that. So I think there's kind of and with that fandom, I mean, give the fans what they want, they'll pay. If you build it, they will come, you know? So, easy peasy. And I like how they're going to, like you said, if it runs kind of concurrently a little bit with The Mandalorian and ties in with The Mandalorian at all, that's pretty dope.
Yeah, and Levi asked me this, Joe. I think we've talked about in the past. He was like, how does she have like white lightsabers? The new canon, and I could be totally wrong about this. Please, someone correct me if I'm wrong. But it looks like she actually has 2 lightsabers that came from Sith Inquisitors, which come out of Star Wars Rebels, I think. But anyway, so regular crystals, they could be like blue or green or maybe even purple. And then if a Sith or somebody who's the dark side, like you and I would probably do, we would bleed the crystals, like emotionally pour our hatred into it, and that would turn it red. Thus it's bleeding, it's red. If you heal them from that, they turn white. I don't know if that's still true. That could be a whole bunch of malarkey, but that's what I'm telling people. So please correct me if I'm wrong about that, Star Wars lightsaber enthusiasts. But yeah, I think it makes sense to me. I'm not surprised that they're doing this at all. I'm curious to see how they do a Jedi-focused TV series like this, because I thought the one they would do for sure would be a Luke Skywalker, and this could still be Luke Skywalker with Ahsoka. I really think that's going to happen at some point, because maybe she helps teach at his academy, and it's not just Luke, but I really think that story of Luke and training Ben Solo and all that stuff would be really cool. Not that they couldn't do that still down the line, but Ahsoka has become such a prominent character, especially from those animated shows. So makes sense.
How would they do something like that with Luke? Would they bring back Mark Hamill and kind of like, let's dye your hair a little bit, make you look like you're only about 40, and let's get in there.
I think they could do that. They could maybe de-age him a little bit. I don't know if they would have to necessarily, but
you think Mark Hamill's down for it?
Dude, he's down for all that stuff. Out of all the people who have been like in Star Wars, he always seems like so excited to like hop into it and be part of it, because that's like, besides the Joker, that's his biggest thing, and he knows it. With like other like famous people who've come out of Star Wars, like Harrison Ford. I think Harrison Ford would rather have you remember him more so as Indiana Jones sometimes over Han Solo. That might not be true. It's just the perception I get from it, and that's why he's so adamant about making more Indiana Jones films. Whereas Mark Hamill's like, dude, I'm back. He's like, I'll come back being Star Wars movies. Like, I think he would totally be down for it. I think it'd be really cool, and we could get even like, you cut Adam Driver's hair a little bit, Joe. You get a little bit of like young Adam Driver-ish in there again. Those two acting against each other.
Of all the people who wouldn't be down for it, I think Adam Driver might not be.
Yeah, he might not be. But the thing is, a lot of people say that until that Disney money truck shows up. No, just kidding. It's like with Sigourney Weaver and like Alien 4 or whatever, and she joked about saying like they needed to bring like a dump truck of money to my house, and they did or something, and it's like that's how she got back in. But anyway, Ahsoka, played by Rosario Dawson, who people might know as the nurse from Daredevil, just kind of moving on, like. Good for her, because the Defenders kind of went by the wayside. I'm still not sure if they'll come back in the fold eventually, but
never even watched it.
Yeah, I don't know. It had potential. We'll see though. They might pop back up. But anyway, so Ahsoka, Joe's not there yet, but eventually I think Joe, you'll start to like her a little bit more once she gets fleshed out in the Clone Wars for you. But yeah, like you said, if the fans want it, there you go. This one kind of interesting to me. I forgot that they announced this, or I just saw it pop up, but this is Rangers of the New Republic, Disney Plus series. This is following apparently some of those individuals who potentially fall within the New Republic. We've actually seen a little bit of them on Joe's favorite episode of The Mandalorian Season 2 with the spiders. It's the guys in the X-Wings. So this show might focus on folks like that, and would also intertwine potentially with Mandalorian and Ahsoka again. All I'm getting here, Joe, and I don't know if you'll feel this too, this feels very Arrowverse to me. And that's not a bad thing. That's not a mean thing. But it's like, let's add a bunch of these shows that you wouldn't think are connected, but then, once in a while, it's like, oh, we pulled somebody over. Oh my gosh, it's Mando, or like, oh, Ahsoka's helping us out with this special mission. And then it's like, oh, but if you want to see how that got built up to, you got to watch the last season of Ahsoka. Like, you know what I mean? Where it's kind of like they add all these things in.
I think that's cool, and it incentivizes you to kind of watch them all, and who wouldn't watch them all anyway? I like that. The thing is there's something much more enticing that I'm sorry, but like the Arrowverse or the DC WB or CW stuff. If it's fine, but obviously this is going to have the budget, and everything, and the cinematic quality. But I think the quality in general abroad here's a word for you. It's going to exude quality, and quality will abound. I think they can do a better, especially with Star Wars, that whole, the travels and the having those communities relate to each other is much more natural feeling to me.
Sure.
And whereas like what they were doing with the CW shows felt a little more, it was truly very comic-y,
Yeah. And they were working with not all of their biggest, superheroes, and they had much more of a budget, and they had to make like triple the amount of shows, and it only started because Arrow did well. So like kudos to CW for building it eventually, because like if you watch that first season of Arrow and then you watch where it is now, you'd be like, how did it get from here to there, right? But like on this one, it seems like Star Wars, they're going to be pretty calculated with these other TV shows and be like, well, if they intertwine it all, it's because we purposefully said, yep, Ahsoka showing up in this one, Mando showing up in this one,
And your options are so much more diverse and endless, you're
totally
in a galaxy far, far away. You can kind of do what you please, not to mention there's so much history and stuff to the Star Wars realm that there's a lot of doors that they can kick open with not much effort.
Oh, yeah, totally. By the way, we're getting all these from, you can get them anywhere online, but I'm looking at movieweb.com. They did a great job of like putting these up between like Disney Plus series versus an actual film. So I appreciate you. Thank you, MovieWeb. Speaking about kicking open a door, some of the greatest news I got from all this stuff. Obviously, we knew this was coming, but the Obi-Wan Kenobi Disney Plus series, we've been talking about that for a little while. Going to take place apparently like 10 years or so after episode 3. But the biggest point of news coming from this for me personally is my boy, Hayden Christensen, back in the Darth Vader suit. Oh, baby. Oh, my goodness. So, does that mean...
Really?
Yeah, he's going to be in here. So, the real question is, so let's just play a little ball here, right? I don't know, Luke is 16 or 18 at the beginning of New Hope or whatnot. But anyway, so you got Hayden Christensen, who's going to be in that Darth Vader suit. Excellent. Do you have... Like, if you bring Hayden Christensen back to do Darth Vader, which I think is great, but he's not the guy. That was David Prowse, I believe, who recently just passed away, who normally, or used to do it way back in the day. I don't think you bring Hayden Christensen back to do just that. I think we're going to see some flashbacks, Joe. I think we're going to get Hayden Christensen back as Anakin Skywalker. I really think it could happen. Where Obi's like sitting in the desert thinking back, and he's like, I should have seen it. That one time he ran out of the meeting, and he's like, I've got a date. I mean, I have to go do some training. And he's like, I should have known back then that he was interested in someone. Like, like stuff like that. I'm just really excited about it because I think Hayden Christensen got a lot of flack for his portrayal as Anakin Skywalker. I always thought he did a good job. I think like the more you look at it, especially compared to how Luke was in the beginning, it makes more sense. But I'm just excited. I think it's cool. Also, just more Darth Vader, and I really think, again, if they weren't teasing it before, Joe, this is another testing ground to see if that Darth Vader TV series or standalone film is a thing still. Because I really feel like they'll tease Vader, they'll show him doing some fighting at points, and people will be like, ooh, I could really use more of that. And that right there is a Disney Plus recipe for just greatness, baby. Just give me that Darth Vader series, Joe. It's just one step closer to good old Darth Vader.
When are these supposed to come out?
Obi-Wan Kenobi is supposed to come out 2022, likely set. So... Yes. So a little more than a year out potentially, or even maybe like 2. But I don't know. I'm really excited about it. Also, besides that, even if we don't get a ton of Darth Vader stuff in there, I'm just glad Ewan McGregor's coming back. I love Ewan McGregor. I think he's really good. He's an incredibly talented guy. And plus, he is probably my favorite thing. Just about my favorite thing, I think, from the prequel trilogy. His Obi-Wan Kenobi is just spot on. So, also, I'm not surprised that they're announcing this too, because I don't know how much you can do with him in the desert. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just have it be like 6 episodes of Obi just meditating on a rock. I suppose you could if they were all flashbacks, but you got to give him something to do. And I don't think he's going to fight Vader necessarily, but if Darth Vader's in it, this might be some kind of excess Jedi purge stuff. I don't know. I'm excited about it. Joe, are you excited about it?
I am. I'm trying to figure out what Hayden Christensen looks like now to see if the flashback thing is viable or not.
It could, it could work. He doesn't look too different, I believe, but
I don't think he does.
Yeah, I think
fairly similar.
Yeah, I think it'll work. Or it could, and this is just me speculating here. I just don't know why you would get him back only to be in the Vader costume, because like you could totally do it. I would just think like if you bring him back,
the voice never matters.
Yeah, it's just the movement, right? And he's worn it before. People don't remember this, but in Revenge of the Sith, he actually did wear the Vader costume at the very end of that film. But I would just love to see him in flashbacks, Jedi Council, maybe sow more of the seeds of the issues they're having from Revenge of the Sith. I think that'd be great. That'd be really cool, and it gives Hayden another crack at this, which a lot of people If you watched all the Clone Wars, Anakin feels like a very different character in that show because they give him a Padawan, Ahsoka, and it's like, yeah, they never brought her up ever. But I think
kidding.
I think really, and you know what, Joe? Speaking of that, I wouldn't be surprised to see that either. What if we get flashbacks and Ahsoka, live action, younger Ahsoka, Padawan at the Jedi Temple? I wouldn't be surprised to see that either. Show Hayden Christensen as Anakin teaching Ahsoka.
Possible.
I see it, man. I see it right now. Anyway, Darth Vader, man. What more can I say? So good. Is there anything else you want to say on this before we move on?
No, not really. I am excited for more Anakin / Darth Vader.
Good. You should be, because
especially at that time period, that would be cool. Him fresh in the suit, doing his thing.
Well,
hunting Jedi.
He's a decade on though, so I don't know how fresh he is. I want a 6 months after movie. I want just him like finding the remnants of just Jedi, just cutting them down. Just oh my god, ugh, it'd be so great. Or they're like, how would he get in? He doesn't have the passcode to this place. Only the Jedi do. And they're like, oh my goodness, that'd be pretty great. Another one they talked about, Lando, Disney Plus series. Still don't know if Donald Glover is going to be coming in or if it's going to be Billy D. Williams. We don't have a ton of information on it yet. Another one I'm not surprised of. I could also see this really easily going down the Solo route where it's Donald Glover as Lando Calrissian, and then you bring in Alden Ehrenreich back to play young Han Solo there's plenty of time in there too. Also, if you're going to kind of dive into maybe some more of the Darth Maul stuff as him being the leader of the Black Sun or whatever. I forget what it is. But of the crime syndicate stuff. So this Lando stuff could have Darth Maul as the main antagonist potentially. I think that's how you really get people super excited, besides the fact that it's Lando. But anyway, Joe, Lando, are you excited? Lando stuff. Would you watch some Lando stuff?
At the moment, not as interested.
Not as the other ones,
but
maybe?
Yes, I would. Okay. I would, especially if they introduced an antagonist like that.
Yeah. This next one is the most interesting one to me because I only saw the name of it and we're still not exactly sure about it. This one's called The Acolyte, which it has like this kind of like, it looks like a lightsaber cut through it. It's kind of red. And I was like, it's like a Sith thing. So apparently it's going to be, quote, a mystery thriller that will take viewers into a galaxy of shadowy secrets and emerging dark side powers in the final days of the High Republic. This takes place 200 years before The Phantom Menace, and this is what I was talking about, Joe. I still think they're going to make a movie or TV series further about this stuff, but this is what I'm saying. You do the whole, like, if it's The Acolyte, maybe this is the Backstabber show, Joe, I've been talking about for so long, where it's just like all the Sith, they all exist, and they're all just like stabbing each other in the back for power. That's all I'm saying. I don't know. I think it could be really good. It could be really interesting. I want to know more about it. But of course, we're gonna have to wait. Apparently, it's probably gonna be a while. So I'm not sure. But The Acolyte sounds really interesting to me. I don't know. What do you think?
Is it old enough to have anything to do with the Maw?
I don't know. The Maw? Is that like a Sith guy? Like a Sith person? I'm sorry.
Of the galaxy or something. That's where they imprison the mother or whatever her name is. I forget. I brought her up to you a while back.
I'm so sorry. My Star Wars knowledge is failing me. Clearly, I don't know enough.
Well, the rise of like the dark side or dark side powers. And I wanted to.
I feel like the sizzle trailer for this will just be Sidious or Palpatine in Revenge of the Sith, who are just like, the dark side of the Force is a pathway to many powers that some would consider to be unnatural. And like people are like turning rocks inside out, and they're turning them into guts and then setting them on fire. Like, be like, sick. Yeah.
Yeah, like the rise of the time of the unexplored parts of the Star Wars galaxy. They imprisoned Abeloth, the mother. She was like a human that like the ones, I guess is what they're called. The brother was pure dark side. Yep. The son was pure
the sister,
the light,
the daughter, yeah.
The sister, the daughter was, and then the father was just he was the original one or whatever. But she was a human that they had as like a servant, but they eventually adopted her as part of the family. She kept growing older, but then she did like some ritual things and this and that, and she became like all powerful. And the ones, along with some Sith and Jedi, first of them helped imprison her or something of that nature, and this and that. But she's crazy powerful and basically end of the galaxy kind of stuff. I don't know how she's part of some books. There's a book series regarding Star Wars that covers her, and I don't know if they'll get into something that
that might be Legends stuff, which they could pull from. They've done it before. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, because they've tackled the mother, or it's not the mother. They tackled the father and the son and the daughter in the Clone Wars. So maybe that's something that they would dive into potentially. But no, this sounds more of like, at least right now, this sounds more about like Sith culture. Really is basically what I feel like I'm getting at here, where it's like a lot of just, it's like, I feel like that's what it's going to be, man. It's the backstab show. It's going to be great. You'll love somebody and they'll backstab someone and then they'll get backstabbed.
Well, that'd be cool if they would cover other Sith lords and stuff. That would be pretty neat, because I mean, you can go in and maybe history that's not quite acknowledged and all, or legend type stuff, but there were a long list of Sith leaders along the path, and there's some interesting ones at that. But so that would be really cool. And I'm sorry, technical difficulties. For some reason, my headphones went out, so I didn't hear everything you said about it. But
that's okay. It's just 200 years ago.
That one sounds exciting to me.
Yeah. The only one who'd be alive would be Yoda, probably, in that timeline. So we could definitely get Yoda. Younger Yoda, maybe more spry. Not that he isn't spry in the prequel trilogy a little bit, but get more like an aggressive, like an angsty Yoda. That'd be wonderful. But yeah, sounds like a cool show. My joke still is that it's just going to be The Office, but everybody's going to be like an evil Sith, and they have workplace differences, but then they just stab each other in the break room. Probably be a little bit more than that, but who knows. This one is the one I'm most probably excited about, besides the Obi-Wan stuff, Joe, because we actually saw the trailer for it, but it is that of, they're just calling it, it's just Andor. I don't know if we got the name before, but Andor, Cassian Andor, one of my guys, as I call him, from Star Wars Rogue One, played that basically rebellion spy and assassin. He's kind of all the stuff. He was the guy who was the leader, or maybe one of the people who did the bad stuff for the rebels, the stuff that maybe the rebels didn't want to acknowledge so much. I love that stuff. We just watched Rogue One again recently, and I think he did such a great job. And that is it Diego Luna, who's got just a great name. I don't want to double check. Yes, such a cool name. Which I don't know. Does that technically mean like Dog of the Moon or something like that? I don't know. Or is that Wolf of the Moon? Coyote of the Moon? But anyway, it was really cool to watch this trailer because there was a lot of behind the scenes stuff. They don't really have a lot of stuff filmed for it yet. Some of the stuff was probably from Rogue One. But he said, during the premiere of Rogue One, it was bittersweet. He's like, this is so cool. We're in Star Wars. But we all knew, everybody out there, the cast was like, this is a one and done because of how that movie wraps up. But then he's like, then magic happened. And this is going to be, get this is going to be like the longest one that I've heard of so far. This is a 12-episode series. Now, it's not going to be it's not going to be as demanding probably as The Mandalorian or like Ahsoka, because like on the technical side, it's not like Andor, Cassian Andor has a lightsaber. He's going to do a bunch of backflips and stuff. But I think this is fascinating. I get it's a prequel of a story that maybe like nobody really wanted to hear about. I love it. I also think it's cool to talk about, like, if the good guys were kind of bad guys. And that's what Andor, or Cassian, really is. It'll also have Alan Tudyk coming back as K2SO. I really think that'll be the first episode of them, like, taking him, like that security droid. Or
K2SO?
Remember K2SO, the droid? He's like, you are being rescued.
Oh, yeah.
Can't forget K2. Okay. But yeah, I think he's going to be introduced pretty quickly, and it'll be like their misadventures leading up to Rogue One, and maybe that
would be interesting nonetheless.
Yeah, the last episode could be them like saving Jin in the beginning of Rogue One or whatnot. But I'm excited about it. I think it's really cool. Joe, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it could be fun, kind of Wild Westy.
Yes,
I like it. Kind of little. I mean, it'll maybe have a little more direction or more of an overarching plot than, how do you say this? Similar to The Mandalorian, but a little bit less deal of the week. Where, I think it'll maybe tie more into the overarching plot through and through instead of, you have like the Mandalorian, the overarching plot, but then there's the like issue of the week to deal with. Whereas I think them, it would be like, what it's building up to eventually, and that's Rogue One. So there's all those steps to get to that point, right? So I think maybe it'd have a little bit more. It'd be a little bit more of a puzzle piece or a puzzle, the remaining pieces to the puzzle. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha. Yep. Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah. And I'm sorry, my phone went off. I didn't realize I was.
That's all right.
Silent.
We all heard.
Hey, that means this thing's just raw and real.
This is the realest show you've ever done listen to in your life. I hear you. I still feel like there's a really good chance they'll do like a thing of the week. Unfortunately, like they'll be like, you got to assassinate this guy this week, and be like, you got to get this thing the next week. Cassian, get back to work. You got to keep stabbing people in the dark. I don't know if he's gonna really be. I don't think they'll make him too bloodthirsty, but at the same time, I really think this is going to be really cool. I like Diego Luna a lot, and maybe I'm also kind of biased because when I did that Void Star Wars experience a while ago, he was the guy who like gave me my mission, even though he wasn't really there. That would have been amazing if he was there in real life and he had to give the spiel like 20 times a day to people. He's just standing there and he's like, here's your mission. I'd be like, wow, he's so lifelike, and I just touch his face. Yeah, I'm stoked for it. Can't wait for that. That is coming out 2022, I believe. Yeah, I think it's gonna be cool. I'm looking forward to it. Let's get to the movies, Joe. And this one, maybe besides the series, is the one that I'm also really excited about. I've also, I've enjoyed Wonder Woman, directed by Patty Jenkins, and this is the person who's going to be directing this next one. And it's fascinating to hear the backstory about this a little bit. But Patty Jenkins coming in to direct Rogue Squadron. Oh my goodness, it's like they listened to us when we were like, we want a TV series and or movie about the X-Wing fighter pilots. Now, the Rangers of the New Republic, that could be that as well. But this one, I think, is really interesting because Patty Jenkins, the little kind of show that they were showing this off, she was kind of like a little video. She's rollerblading somewhere, and you find out that she's actually on an airfield. And she talks about her dad being a fighter pilot. And he actually was in service to the United States military, and he unfortunately had to give his life in service for that. But she said, never in my life have I ever experienced a bigger thrill than hearing those jets take off when you're there on the field. And she said, I've always wanted in my career to make the greatest fighter pilot film of all time. And she's like, the problem is the scripts weren't coming through. I couldn't find the right story to tell. But then, and like she's like taking the rollerblades off, she's putting something else on, and you're like, okay, what is she doing? She's like, but now I finally found one. And that's in Rogue Squadron. And so you finally see that she puts on one of those orange jumpsuits and she walks towards an X-Wing that's on the tarmac or whatnot. I think it's really cool. I am really interested. I bet there are a lot of challenges with doing a film that's probably primarily set in space. I'm sure there'll be a lot of like, back at base or back in the Carillion Corvette or whatnot. But yeah. I think this is really cool. I think Patty Jenkins is a really good director. And I'm really excited to see this because, oh boy, just imagine just like some great dogfighting sequences. Like the end of Rogue One has a little bit of it, but we don't really get a lot of great, dogfights in space. Star Wars, we haven't had like amazing ones. There are moments, but I would love to see something more, man. Like this could be really intense. Like this could be really cool. I
think that was one of the main and only reasons I liked that Ice Spider Mandalorian episode was because of their chase scene.
Yeah, it's good.
I thought that was cool.
Yeah, and that's just the chase scene. Like imagine them in the debris of space, like fighting through. Oh my gosh, you could do a lot of crazy stuff with it. But I'm really looking forward to this, especially if she's looking at it from a more realistic kind of quotes around that for our listeners who are just listening, but realistic spin on it as a fighter pilot film. Because I've seen like one or two in the past where it is focused on that, and you really have to focus in on that because you could really go full sci-fi, which it is obviously, but if you keep the human element in there, which I'm hoping, and I think she really will do, this could be a very intense Star Wars film focusing on that wars part, which I love so much. Enough of those stars. Yeah. So many stars. They're so bright I can't even look at them. Give me the war, baby. Give me that sweet, sweet war. Yeah. But anyway, Joe, that's me talking about Rogue Squadron. What do you think?
I mean, exactly what I said. I mean, I like the artistic style of, the dog fights and the chase sequences with those X-Wings and other spacecraft. So, yeah, I'm all about it. Not to mention Patty Jenkins. I mean, she's only proven herself once to me, but it was definitely above and beyond. Like, out of 10 stars, I would have given it 12. So, I have high hopes.
Cool.
High hopes.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I'm just going to rapid fire these last few off because we don't know as much about them, and maybe they won't be as critical to us. But first off, we just got a little update on that Taika Waititi Star Wars movie. Still don't really know anything about it. I would imagine it's going to be a comedy. I have a good feeling that it'll probably be a comedy, which is totally fine. Competent director, proven himself plenty of times now. People really, I think you either really like his stuff, or you just kind of like, it's all right. Like, there's not a lot of people who are like, that guy, get him out of here. Like, obviously has a flair for humor, which I really think that's what this film will probably be, which is totally fine. And there are a lot of people out there probably listening to this who are like, oh, cool, Taika Waititi stuff. But again, they didn't really announce much from it. They just said it's like they're still working on it. So could be a ways out. This next one, A Droid Story. Don't really know much about it. I have the really strong sneaking suspicion that this is going to be like an animated film. This might be, I think, more kid focused. Not saying that it'll be bad. I'm not saying that at all. I just watched Camp Cretaceous recently. It's really good. Go check it out. But I don't know. I don't know. It's just it's I don't know. Every time, like, I'm sorry, I feel bad because, like, not that the droids are bad. It's not that they're bad. It's just I rarely get worried about the droids because either A, they're gonna get trashed, or B, they really won't. But even if they did, you could find a way to bring them back. Like C-3PO, you could kill that guy 100 times over, and he'll just keep coming back. Because they can do it. You know what I mean? There'll be some sort of chip somewhere or whatever else. I don't know, man. I feel kind of bad. Like, I like. Do you really like the droids? Are fine. I think they're fine. I'm just not like.
I'm not invested in them as deeply as I would the main characters. But I won't lie. I mean, I think of all of them. Unfortunately, they kept like. C-3PO, they established him as just being like slightly annoying or like a comical relief a little bit in some of the earlier ones, but then they do, like Rise of Skywalker is the one where you actually care about him a little bit, like, oh shit, they're gonna wipe his memory and he's been there since the beginning, right? And
totally.
So they're able to get you there a little bit, but yeah, I don't know. I agree with you.
Yeah, and again, this is not me trying to throw shade. If you love droids, if they're your favorites, I really enjoyed BB-8. I thought BB-8 was great. I forget the one in Jedi Fallen Order. Maybe my favorite one. He seemed the most practical to me. He's got the two little legs, Joe. Seems like you could use that all the time.
But I do like BB-8 too. I agree that. I mean, that may be slightly overplayed, but not so much that I had to call it out or be annoyed with it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they actually make you get attached to him. And not only that, but they actually show how much the characters care about him.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Which helps. Yeah. Between Rey and Poe. I mean, yeah. So.
For sure. BD1, by the way. Jedi Fallen Order. He's great. But yes, I totally agree with you. Last few things here for Star Wars. This one, Bad Batch, they talked about it's a Disney Plus series, kind of continuing on from the Clone Wars that just recently had their final season that was brought back. Centers around a group of clones that all have genetic defects, making them all good primarily at one major thing. But because it's going to take place at the end of the Clone Wars, you can imagine that's Revenge of the Sith times, and what they do after that. To me, kind of interesting. I've enjoyed the Star Wars animated stuff for a long time, and I think it could be good. But Joe, if you ever watch that stuff, I think you would like this. It's like a bunch of commandos, basically, but they are all like, there's the strong one, and then there's like the sniper guy, and then there's like the cool leader. You know what I mean? It's kind of that sort of thing.
That makes sense. The Bad Batch.
Yeah, the Bad Batch. Star Wars, the Bad Batch. Because they're like the rogue group of clones that were kind of defective, but also they're really good at special ops missions, man. But now, do they work for the Empire, or do they just like run away? Probably that, because they don't have their chips in them anymore. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Interesting. And this other one, I do want to bring up, last one here. Star Wars Visions, animated Disney Plus series. Apparently this is nuts to me, is going to be, it's celebrating Star Wars, like the galaxy, through the lens of Japanese anime creators. This could be the craziest thing we see on Disney Plus for a long time, because it's like, what if it was Darth Vader, but he was anime? They could do a lot with this. And I've seen stuff like this in the past. I'm really curious about this one, man. Like, this is set to arrive in 2021. And 10 short films could be about anything. I don't know. Some of these, they might do some crazy fight scenes. We probably haven't seen fight scenes like this since the original Star Wars, the Clone Wars, that was like Samurai Jack animated style. But that could be really cool. I think it'd be really neat, but I'm kind of an anime fan. Joe, how about you, man? What would you watch this, or would you maybe check out a few if there was like something specific you liked?
Over it. Perfect. All right, moving on. Joe, we're moving into the next section, which for folks who are keeping track right here, maybe I'll put a timestamp for it. 35 minutes. It's Marvel. Oh my gosh. You thought Star Wars announced a lot. Well, Marvel announced maybe just as much. First off, we don't really need to talk about it too long, but WandaVision, it's coming in January. Just, you don't even need to watch anymore. I mean, it's basically here. It's great. I like to joke, be like, oh, they're making a WandaVision show? Good. Captain Marvel 2 was announced. Also not a huge surprise. I've kind of gone over the things that are like, yeah, we knew. They also talked about Black Panther 2, which I thought was interesting. They said that they will not be recasting Chadwick Boseman. Really smart move, Disney. I really don't think anybody could take that role. Even like there's just no way you could have done that. So I think going with what you have and exploring Wakanda, as they say, in this film, you can do it with the other players. So what are they going to do with them?
I don't know. That's the big question still, and I think there's a few different ways you could go with this. And the rumors have kind of gone around. It's like you could make Shuri the new Black Panther. You could make M'Baku, from the Gorilla Tribe, become the new Black Panther. I just don't think you bring somebody else in and be like, even if you wouldn't say he's T'Challa, or if you'd be like, this is T'Challa's replacement, another guy or another person. I just think it's probably smarter to just continue with this because they have to, right? Black Panther did bonkers, and a lot of people love that character in that world. There's no way that they were just going to leave this on the shelf, right? Like, they couldn't just be like,
no,
we're not going to do anything with it. It makes sense. It's already $1 billion franchise. So, not surprising. That comes out in 2022, July 8th. So we'll see. A lot of this subject to change. Pandemic still happening. Pandemic pending. We got the confirmation that Ant-Man and the Wasp, they're having a third film. This has kind of been going around for a while. They finally got the name Quantumania. Now, Joe, I know you might not be the biggest Ant-Man and the Wasp or Ant-Man fan. I like the films. I think they're pretty fun. They're pretty lighthearted. Paul Rudd does a good job. I think with this one, and they didn't talk about Spider-Man, but to wrap up these trilogies, they're getting bonkers, like really crazy. Like the first two are like pretty, like kind of like smaller affairs, especially with Ant-Man. Wink, I'm winking at the camera. It's a small joke. It's a pun. But this one is actually bringing in Kang the Conqueror, which we've talked about a few times. I actually made a video about it a long time ago because I'm like, they'll bring Kang in eventually. But I think this one is going to get really crazy. I think Marvel is kind of doing a bunch of stuff, especially with like the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness and Spider-Man multiverse thing. And I don't know. I think this could be a really cool film. But Joe, where do you stand? Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
I didn't. I'm indifferent to it. Will I watch them? I may. I'm not going to pay or go out of my way.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Yeah, they don't do a hell of a lot for me. They're fine.
Fair enough. You're honest to yourself, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
I kind of talked about it before, but besides Captain Marvel 2, the person who's also going to be starring alongside Captain Marvel, there'll be a few people, but it'll be Kamala Khan, which, Joe, you know now, especially a lot of us know now, even more so through the lens of Marvel's Avengers, the video game, which will be being played by Iman Vellani, who was just recently announced as the new Miss Marvel. For people who don't know Miss Marvel, she is a younger superhero who develops abilities similar to Mr. Fantastic in that she can stretch and she can, make her hands really big and hit really hard. Somehow, I don't know how the super strength comes into it, but it does. Currently filming down in Atlanta, Georgia, and she's obsessed with Captain Marvel, and she kind of models herself after Captain Marvel. I've said this before, and I still think it's going to hold true. I think this is going to be the equivalent in some respects of like young Spider-Man learning to use his powers in a big city, but also with the unique twist of focusing on a Pakistani family. So I don't know. I think it's going to be good. I think they cast really well, and we'll see. And that'll be a Disney Plus series that will lead into Captain Marvel 2, I believe. So, Joe, hit me up. Hypometer. How are we doing?
What's her character name again? Miss Marvel?
Ms. Marvel? Ms. Marvel. Yes.
Ms. Marvel? I'm kidding. Back when I played the demo of the Avengers game, I found that character to be fine-ish. Like, she just doesn't do much for me. But sure. I mean, we'll see, I guess.
Yeah.
Fair
enough. He's in the middle somewhere.
Intense feelings on it. Yeah, Hypometer maybe in the middle, maybe a little less at the moment.
I was gonna make a lukewarm joke, but we're not in the Star Wars segment anymore, Jimmy. Come on, keep moving along. That's totally fine. Here's one that might be a little bit more up your alley, Joe, but you just saw the trailer for it before we started. But that's the Falcon and the Winter Soldier on Disney Plus.
The Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
And the Winter Soldier. Everybody knows the Winter Soldier. But we got Sebastian Stan back.
Russian, Jimmy.
I was doing a German because that's what Zemo would do, and he's going to be the bad guy. Well, he used to be German. Zemo used to be German. He's not German. He is technically from oh god, what's the name of that city that Ultron tried to use as a meteor? Sokovia. He's Sokovian. He was Sokovian Special Forces. But Sebastian Stan and Anthony Mackie are coming back. This one looks, and as Kevin Feige, he talked about it, he said it's like a Marvel film spread out over 6 episodes of a television show. And they kind of shot it that way. It sounds like they're doing that with Star Wars too. They're like, a lot of the people they talk behind the scenes are like, this is the same way we do the movies. So, looks really interesting. I think it's pretty, I don't know what they're getting into, but you just saw the trailer. What do you think?
I mean, I can... His sequence of him flying through the canyon and stuff, awesome.
Yeah.
Falcon as a character, fine.
Sure.
You know, he was always fine. It didn't do a hell of a lot for me. Always has that weird attitude about him. But anywho, I love me some Winter Soldier, man.
Yeah.
And he's got like a new vibranium arm, and it's like kind of blackened and glistening, and I love it. I want to see him punch through some things.
Remember, he had that in Infinity War.
Yeah,
just
I know,
remember.
But I want to see more of it.
I understand. I wish he had the mask back. Like, Sebastian Stan's a good-looking guy, and people have said he could be a young Luke Skywalker if they wanted to do like an old like Luke as a younger guy. I'm like, I could see him as a young Mark Hamill a little bit. And he's doing his little knife action, which is so funny because if you put these characters in a show together before we knew more about them, Joe, I'd be like, really, you're doing this? But I think a lot of it is predicated on the fact that they have this like weird chemistry of like, we're bros, but we kind of hate each other. But like Captain America,
because they develop from hating each other to that, right? So I think that makes it cooler or more.
Well, they've got like
doable, but
they've got like a relationship. You know, like it's kind of like I hate you, and it's like, yeah, well, I hate you too, bud. You know,
yeah, exactly. But Sebastian Stan, Winter Soldier, bring back the mask and
the long hair.
Wait, the long hair.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, he just looked dope. You know,
did look dope. Yeah. It's an interesting show because I'm really curious to see how like if Zemo's going to be the main bad guy, but these two characters, like Sam can fly and Bucky's got like probably some serum, but also the strong arm. We'll see how much the shield plays into it, but I don't know if this is a series you do continuously. The fascinating thing I think about it too is that like it's going to also have along with them the new probably Black Widow, who is like Natasha's kind of sister in arms from the Red Room that we see a little bit of in those trailers for Black Widow. That's who that lady is in there. I'm sorry, that's going to be Hawkeye. I apologize. I'm coming up to that. I'm skipping a beat. I still think she'll be in both. I think new Black Widow will be in both. That's what I'm trying to say. But yeah, or she probably is in the trailer. I don't know. There's a lot of trailers. Either way, you more excited about this one though? It sounds like than some of the other things we talked about.
I'm sorry, my audio's cutting in and out.
Good. That's all right. Just say yes, I am.
Heck yeah, probably not.
Wait, no. Can you hear me now? Are we good?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. Are you more excited about this show than you are about some of the other stuff we've talked about?
The Falcon and Winter Soldier?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, more than pretty much all the Marvel ones thus far that we've talked about.
Yeah, it's those darn wireless earbuds, man. They cut in and out. You can't trust them. You just can't do it.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's all right. We're gonna talk just a little bit here about one of the other ones I think is really fascinating. Loki, TV series. Finally saw the trailer for it. Tom Hiddleston's back. He should honestly never leave. The guy is just so much fun to watch. I think kind of has that Ewan McGregor feel about him a little bit, where I could just watch him in anything, kind of. But yeah, Loki coming in hot, doing his own thing. Not the Loki we necessarily know, kind of the Loki we know, but focusing on the Loki from Avengers, the very first Avengers. So
yeah, so he hasn't been developed to have any soft spots for his brother or anything yet. He's still kind of bad.
Yeah, and his he didn't witness his mom dying and, kind of teaming up with Thor a few times like he has. So I'm really curious to see this one. I think it'll be a lot of fun. It looks like it's going to be kind of wacky. I had somebody comment and tell me they didn't recognize Owen Wilson in the beginning, who's in the elevator with him. But that agency, which I forget, it's the Time Variant Agency or something, very much reminds me of Legends of Tomorrow, or there's a lot of these kind of, if you start messing with time travel and stuff, there's in comics, there's an agency of people, of bureaucrats who are yeah, we fix time anomalies and stuff. But I was oh, Owen Wilson? I was this looks great. I was this looks like a weird, crazy show that looks like a movie as well. I was the way they shoot these things and the budget they put in, it's dripping off these trailers. I'm oh yeah. I was this is not a classic, we're just throwing it on TV kind of deal. Did you get that vibe?
I didn't quite understand the trailer whatsoever.
Yeah, it's all right. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Owen Wilson, man, that nose has made him some money, but man, I did not realize how bad it was.
Yeah, I thought there was a story about that where he said he got that injury and he said they said they could fix it, and he was no, don't, because it's part of me. It's part of who I am, makes me unique. And I was oh, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, fine. No, I mean, it's not like he's a bad-looking guy even with it. I really noticed it in this one with the short hair. I'm so used to the long, shaggy blonde, but
oh, totally, yeah. It's somebody's going around the Marvel campus with a just buzzing long people's hair, Sebastian Stan and Owen Wilson, come here, I'm gonna buzz your hair, I'm gonna buzz it right down. And you're oh, come on, man, don't take off their long, luscious locks.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really excited about this one, man. Tom Hiddleston looks like he's having a ball. There's just something about it. And I was watching.
Loki lends himself well to some cool zany stories.
Yeah.
So this one is probably the one I'm most excited for, even though until you just kind of described it, I didn't know everything about.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm all in.
I watched a trailer breakdown from somebody I really like and I really want to have on the show. Please, somebody tweet at him. Ryan, please do this. But at Mr. Sunday Movies, he did a trailer breakdown. They talked about that he might actually be playing a bunch of different roles throughout time as Loki, but one of them is DB Cooper, and that's where he's wearing the glasses and he's got the suit and stuff at the end on the plane, and he kind of winks at that flight attendant, and he jumps off the plane, and the Bifrost comes and catches him and takes him away because DB Cooper famously hijacked a plane, got a bunch of money, took off with the plane, jumped out of it, and was never seen again. And they're what if that was Loki? What if Loki was DB Cooper? And it's
cool.
They could just have you can't bring him to do Grassy Knoll for a lot of reasons, but they just did that on oh my gosh, the Umbrella Academy. They're not going to make they're not going to be and Loki maybe also shot JFK and be no, you can't make Loki be every kind of who done it type of thing. But I think there's a lot of things in. I wonder if he's kind of messed with time and the agency's hey man, to get your freedom, you're gonna have to do some jobs for us, which means we're gonna send you back and correct some mistakes in the past. And he's I'll get right on that. And it's but yeah, I don't know. I think I love Tom Hiddleston being back, man. I think people wanted Loki for a long time, and it's just the show's title. It didn't make sense to me how it looked all like a hodgepodge, because we're fixated on graphics, Joe. But remember, it was it looked at, I was why does this look so weird? It looks so odd. Every shape for each letter was off. But then in the trailer, you kind of see it they're switching through all of them. He's going maybe throughout time or space or something. Yeah. And you're oh, okay. That's the reason. It's he's there, but he's transcending. space and time. But yeah, I don't know. I think it looks like a lot of fun. It looks like it's just going to be a good time. I kind of wish Taika Waititi, I wonder if he'll be involved in it in any way or if he is, but like that's a show I could see him being like, yeah, let's do some jokes. Especially like that. There's like that Asgardian like club that maybe like everybody worships the Asgardians, and like they all kind of turn on Loki at the last second. Like he's kind of got like he's like, look at my cool club of dudes, and it's like maybe they're bad guys or they turn on him. I don't know. This looks like it's gonna be wacky. Looking forward to it. This next one, we have a mutual friend, Sarah, who's never gonna see this. She loves this character, and I think a lot of people enjoy this character. But it's She-Hulk getting a Disney Plus series. I think we've heard about this a few times, but finally coming to Disney Plus was a character that broke the fourth wall, I think, before Deadpool did, which means that in the comics, she would actually look at the reader and address things, be like, yeah, I'm in a comic book and you're reading one. Isn't that great? But she also has the powers of the Hulk. She's the cousin of good old-fashioned Bruce Banner. And she actually has control over her ability, and she's always in her Hulk form. But she's a lawyer. And she deals with superhero or supervillain cases in a courtroom. That's the show. Joe, over. No, Joe, okay, here's the thing that could be cool. Mark Ruffalo coming back as Bruce Banner, a.k.a. maybe the Hulk, and then Tim Roth.
Doesn't matter, the Hulk's ruined.
Tim Roth.
Ruined.
Maybe they got to get some redemption for him. Like Tim Roth is Abomination, which is crazy because it's like one of the... They probably acknowledged it in the past, but like, they have. But like him coming back, I'm like, oh, I wonder if he'll be on trial. Or I wonder if he's going to be helping her with something. The thing that could be the most interesting is the same thing people talked about in Spider-Man 3, possibly. Is that our boy, I keep saying this, Charlie Cox, a.k.a. Daredevil, could potentially be someone she faces off against in the courtroom. Wouldn't that be great if he came in as like one of the lawyers that she had to, like, she was a prosecutor and he was acting as like the defendant's lawyer? That'd be such a great way to like weave him back in, at least Daredevil back, like Matt Murdock comes in. Like,
cool.
That could be cool. Yeah.
I'll give it that.
I'm really interested to see this show because, like I said, it's fourth wall. She's constantly hulked, but she's always in control typically. I'm curious. Like, it seems like such a weird show, right? Like to do. You're like, it's a courtroom drama, but she's like a superhero and like, I don't know. We'll see how it might be very comical. It could be very dramatic. It could be a bit of both. I'm very interested to see how they do this because I think it would be hard.
I guess that's the only thing that interests me is how are they going to do it?
Yeah.
What's the vibe going to be like? But
totally.
I don't know. I'm so let down with the Hulk as a character, and how are they going to do She-Hulk any better? And yeah,
is that because of the Infinity War Endgame stuff mostly?
Yeah, sure. I mean, they turned Hulk. Well, yeah, that and Ragnarok. I mean, they turned Hulk into kind of a plaything toy, like to not be taken seriously anymore.
Yeah.
Whereas like in Avengers, it's like, that's the thing about me. I'm always angry, and he just freaking goes, I wanted that moment in the last film, and instead it's just, I'm super smart now and I eat tacos and I wear a tie. I'm like, thank you, Marvel, good job.
Yeah. I do miss when Hulk, like in the first Avengers, like people were scared of him. Like Black Widow was terrified. Like everyone was scared anytime he did anything because people were like, "Is he gonna lose it? Is he gonna kill all of us right now?" Like, because you're like, "Oh, he can fight Thor 1-on-1. He could kill all of us." Like if and we're in a helicarrier, seems like a really good idea. It's like, that first Avengers is crazy. Speaking of original Avengers, Jeremy Renner coming back in the Hawkeye series. I kind of mentioned it before with that new, potentially kind of new age Black Widow, like her sister from the Black Room or Red Room, I should say. However, the one thing I'm most excited about, because I've become a fan of her more recently, because I finally found a bunch of her movies, Haley Steinfeld is going to be playing Kate Bishop, who actually also just got introduced in the Marvel's Avengers video game, but she'll be playing kind of Hawkeye's understudy in this world of espionage and or shooting arrows. I'm sure it'll be a bit of both. But I like Haley Steinfeld. People might know her from Bumblebee, Edge of 17. Was that the name of the movie? It's good with Woody Harrelson. Check it out. But anyway, I'm looking forward to this. I think it's pretty cool. I'm glad that Jeremy Renner's back in here. And I'm interested to see this one. Again, this is another one of those that like falls in line with, it's not going to be as high flying, obviously, wink wink, as like Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But I also think it lends itself to an interesting vibe. I think they probably won't do the same as like the Arrow TV series, but I think it'll have more of a budget and they'll be doing some crazier things. But it's another one of those like, this is why you have Disney Plus, because they can, drop this, on some kind of random time, a few months after the last Marvel thing or Star Wars thing. It's just kind of, you're kind of planting the seeds. And
Haley Steinfeld in there, huh? That would be cool. I watched the trailer for Hawkeye, and this one actually seems kind of mysterious thriller-esque. I'm actually pretty enticed by it. It almost has a much more, I don't know, like I get a much more adult vibe from it, which I kind of dig. And I think Jeremy Renner in that kind of vibe, and obviously in his role as Hawkeye, I think this will, I'm overusing the word vibe, but I think it's going to vibe out pretty well.
Yeah.
Jive. I like it.
Well, I also like the fact that we have him coming back and we know he's a parent now. And then for him to be a mentor is kind of an interesting idea, I think. And this is kind of, I think a lot of it's drawing inspiration, even the title from like the font from My Life as a Weapon of these two. I think, anyway. It just looks interesting. And I think Jeremy Renner, and especially Haley Steinfeld, I think that'll be a fun connection. But the trailer, a lot of it's like his legacy and just showing clips from older films. And showing some of that new kind of Black Widow. I don't know. We'll see. I still think it'll be kind of cool. And I really think this might be kind of alluding to, if not a film, maybe a TV series for the Young Avengers with, everybody's successor kind of coming to the fold, and Kate Bishop being Hawkeye's. So I really think that's probably going to happen. Which leads me...
Who's the new Black Widow?
She is... I don't know her name, but she's... I feel bad. She is... Remember the trailer? We see her in the trailer for Black Widow, the film coming up. She was like in the Red Room with Natasha. She's another assassin lady from Black Widow's past. Probably will be the new Black Widow to some extent, maybe. We'll see.
That movie that's coming out, or that's been coming out for 6-7 months.
It's been coming out forever. Since we were born, they're like, Black Widow, it'll be your birthright. The one other thing I do want to talk about here too, and I'm trying to find the actual shot of it. I can't find it. Ironheart, they talked about, kind of like an Iron Man. I don't know if it's going to be a series or what it's going to be exactly, but like a Tony Stark successor. All this stuff to me, and I don't know if that's a film or if it's a TV series itself, that all lends credence to the whole, for me, idea that it's going to be a new Avengers lead up. Sorry, this is a Disney Plus series. Thank you, Movie Web. This is a character that they introduced pretty recently, along with Kamala Khan. They got introduced really recently. I'm not surprised. They've gone for a lot of the bigger stuff from the past, already for the films. I think if you're going to do some of these newer, especially younger individuals, you put them on the Disney Plus series, get them their own series, and then that works out together. Yeah. You either group them together for a series that's like the Defenders again, or you do, the big one, which is like a film for them. But yeah, Ironheart could be interesting. New Iron Man stuff. I mean, I'm always excited for Iron Man stuff. Never enough Iron Man tech. But yeah, we'll see about that. Joe, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, I mean, Iron Man is what kicked it all off. I'm down for anything else that has any resemblance to that.
Mm-hmm. Another thing that's coming in Disney Plus series, Armor Wars, is an old comic that was based on what if a bunch of villains or people stole a bunch of Tony Stark's tech and then they had a big fight about it. And obviously, you can't have Robert Downey Jr. come back for this, but Don Cheadle.
War Machine.
Exactly. So you bring in Don Cheadle and you're like, you got to clean up your buddy's messes even after he's dead. It's like, come on, Tony. Tony's causing all these problems, but would have been kind of cool, I think, to have that as the thing before the passing of Iron Man, but at the same time, it's okay. I would love to just how pissed Tony would be like, that's my tech. Sorry, Tony, got to rip him apart. Also, people are kind of suggesting Sam Rockwell returning as Justin Hammer. If you guys remember from Iron Man 2, he was kind of a competitor for Hammer Tech. Wouldn't be surprised to see that. A lot of people like him. Very cult villain following there. But that'll be another Disney Plus series. A lot of Disney Plus series, as you guys could probably hear me saying here, which is not surprising. Joe, Armor Wars. Higher, lower than Ironheart? Same ballpark?
Higher.
Higher. Okay.
Yeah, I think that one could be chaotic and action packed for sure.
Yeah, that
Plus,
could be
I like
nice.
War Machine. Don Cheadle's fine and all, but like War Machine, like that Iron Man suit is pretty dope.
Yep, you guys, if you're listening to this, you can't see this, but I got a little picture of War Machine over here. I love him. War Machine. Right, I love War Machine. It's just so cool. It's like one of the coolest things about Iron Man 2. Of course, the ex-wife or whatever is not that missile that Justin Hammer. How does the Hammer Tech make a poor missile like that? That's their business as weapons. Anyway, they got that minigun. A quick check-in on Blade. Blade's still coming along. Didn't have much to say besides that. That's okay. I still really think we're going to get some vampires in that multiverse of madness that Doctor Strange 2. I'm just telling you right now. I really think it's going to be fun.
With Blade,
Thor Love and Thunder, still moving along. It's like they have to kind of check it and be like, yeah, it's still happening. This one's kind of interesting.
Apparently Christian Bale is playing...
Yes, they confirmed that he would be playing Gore the God Butcher.
Yeah, cool.
Which, okay.
I love the name.
It's cool. Gore is cool. The only thing I'm nervous about, and again, Taika, you're probably never going to see this, but if you do, and this is not on you, man, maybe, I don't know. It's the same group that was behind the scenes for Thor Ragnarok. A lot of people like that. But my fear with that is that, like, Gore the God Butcher might be a joke. And not that Hela was a joke, but I feel like she was not the same presence. You know, she wasn't like that. Like, when they were like, the goddess of death is going to be here in this movie, she's the main antagonist. I was like, the goddess of death? Like, I was like, whoa. I thought they were going to tie it into Thanos. I thought that was going to be like his love interest, like kind of the comics, sort of. I thought that's what they were going to do. And I was like, she's going to show up in freaking Infinity War. And then it was like a one and done. And I just really like Cate Blanchett. So, will they do that again here? I don't know. There's a lot going on. So it's going to probably be Natalie Portman fighting.
With a title like that, Gore, the God Butcher? I mean, come on.
I know, but the title of this movie is called Thor Love and Thunder. And the last one was called Thor Ragnarok. And Surtur was in the background for most of that movie. Like, so it's like, I'm just saying, as excited as I am that Christian Bale's going to be in this, and he's not going to be Beta Ray Bill, which is fine. I'm curious to see how he looks first. You know, I'm gonna reserve that judgment until we see the trailer, because I don't know. Maybe it'll be my favorite Marvel movie of all time. Also, it sounds like Chris Pratt might be in this a little bit as well, as Star-Lord, because they're kind of, you know, they're doing the whole like Thor and Guardians kind of intermixing thing a little bit. We'll see. Joe, how do we feel about this one, Thor: Love and Thunder? Now that we know that Christian Bale's in here.
Who's the director again, though?
That's Taika Waititi. He's back.
Yeah. I don't want to see another Ragnarok.
Yeah, I guess that's my fear too. I don't think Ragnarok is bad. I really don't. I enjoy it. It was very different than what I thought it was going to be, and that's okay. And I know that there's not a lot of defenders for Thor: The Dark World. I understand that people don't like that movie. Very integral film though. They talked about it a lot in Endgame. They're like, did you see Thor: The Dark World? It had one of those Infinity Stones in it. It was more like a liquid. It's more like a liquid. Don't worry about it. It's a stone. But anyway, so they're working on that. I'll see it. You know, I'll see it either way because Marvel's got me. This one is really interesting to me. Disney Plus series, again, Secret Invasion, which normally in the past, Joe, is like, what if the Skrulls infiltrated Earth and took over a lot of key points on the planet? You know, you have someone who's like a state senator and, like, you know, Captain America and like all these people who are Skrulls. The problem is the Skrulls have been kind of made the good guys from Captain Marvel and stuff. So I don't really know how you do this, but Samuel Jackson's going to be in this show. I don't know about this show.
I don't know either. The Skrulls are a little weird, but whatever.
I just want my Super Skrulls, Joe. And now because, okay, that's going to lead right into this next thing that I want to talk about, but that's Fantastic Four. I just want my Super Skrull. I want a Super Skrull that's got all the powers of the Fantastic Four and then eventually the X-Men. We got Klurt and Rund. And I'm just saying, that's what I want. I want to see some Super Skrull action. Which I think they said the biggest announcement that came out of all this stuff was Fantastic Four movie. I'm not really surprised. I thought we all knew that was coming. But anyway, they've confirmed it. Kevin Feige's like, yeah, we're making Fantastic Four. And I was like, you bet you are. Like, you gotta, baby. You gotta get Dr. Doom in there, baby. I don't know. I'm excited about this. I still wonder who the cast is going to be. Is it John Krasinski and Emily Blunt? I'd be cool with that as Mr. and Mrs. Fantastic. I can totally see that, you know? What do you think, Joe?
Oh, well, I agree with that. But
Sure.
Fantastic Four, I mean, at this point, it's hard to get too amped about it because it's been done enough times and I've been let down enough times.
Yeah, so it's been done like there's 4 films I think out on it. The 2 that we grew up with, and there was that last one that came out recently. And then there's one back in like the 80s or 90s, while ago.
Yeah, and Michael B. Jordan was in the one. I've never seen it, and
I've seen it. I've seen it twice. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm interested because Fantastic Four is like the founding Marvel family, and I think they could really do it justice. And if they would have had a chance to have the whole Marvel pantheon at the beginning of the MCU, I really think the Fantastic Four would have been there early. So
we'll see. Right.
We'll see. And you know what? I like those 2 Fantastic Four movies that were like in the early 2000s. I thought they were pretty fun. I enjoyed them for what they were. It's where Chris Evans got his start. Will we ever get a moment where Captain America meets the Human Torch and he's like, hey, wait a second, don't I know you? Like, be like, like, no. What if Chris Evans was just angling for this and he's like, I could be Human Torch again? He's like,
who played the Invisible Woman back then? Jessica Alba.
Oh, Jessica Alba. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Which seems like a crying shame because it's like, I don't know. I had a really big crush on Jessica Alba back in the day. And I was
well, so did every guy our age.
But, and I get the whole, like, the joke in that movie was like, how many times can we get her to completely undress and be invisible? And then she, like, loses her abilities with her powers. And it's like, oh my gosh, it's Jessica Alba naked in public. I just always thought when they cast her for that, I was like, why would you take the most beautiful woman on the planet to young Jimmy and make her invisible? I'm like, that seems like a crime against nature. I like the casting for those films. Michael Chiklis, dude, he was a great Thing. I like Thing. I want Thing.
Yeah, true.
I want Thing and Hulk to have they have such a rivalry in the comics. I really want that. To just like every time Hulk sees Thing, it's like it's a punch up. He's like, I'm gonna beat you up. It's like, okay. Anyway, I'm really excited about that. I would not be surprised at all to see Doctor Doom be the main antagonist for this, or be one of like the seeds be planted for him to be a major villain / good guy.
The casting for him back in the day was great too. Remember that?
God, he's so good. Nip Tuck.
Yeah,
Mr. Nip Tuck.
He played Christian and Nip Tuck. What's his real name? Cole. Julian McKinnon.
Yeah, he was Cole on Charmed, and I loved him. That was great because like one of them had like a demon boyfriend, the other one had like an angelic boyfriend. It was like, hey, dude, we're in the same family kind of, but I'm watching you. Like,
yeah, I hate to admit, but I did watch that show back then a little bit when I was a teenager.
Yeah, man.
And I remember I thought it was so cool that he was basically like Darth Maul in his demon form.
Dude, yeah. He was cool. And he would just show up out of the ground. Yeah, he would just like fire up and he's like, whoa, hi. He's like, hey, how's it going? Dated Phoebe? I think he dated Phoebe. Anyway,
sure.
I'm really excited. I think it'll be good. I know what you mean. I think there's some old school fans of Fantastic Four who are super excited about this. Some other people were kind of like you, where they're like, I'm kind of burned out on Fantastic Four. You're going to have to really wow me with this. So I'm really curious. I'm really curious.
They know they need to.
Yeah, they need to go all out. I think this movie's going to have a really good budget. I think the casting, they're going to like really, not that they don't do this with all their films, but I think they really are going to, nail that group of 4 people and be like, we need to make sure you guys have the energy and the charisma and the banter back and forth because you guys are our Fantastic Four and we're going to use you in like 10 movies. So we're going to make sure you work. So I'm looking forward to that. I think it'll be interesting. I think it'll be pretty cool. A few more updates and then we'll wrap it up here. Another Disney Plus series, Joe, the one we've been talking about for a while, a little touch base on Moon Knight. Which will probably be most likely starring Oscar Isaac, who you guys know as Poe Dameron. Also maybe as Apocalypse from X-Men Apocalypse and other things. He was in Ex Machina. He's in a bunch of stuff. But that show is one I can't wait to see more of too. Uh-oh. It's cat sighting. People are going to love this. The internet loves cats. There's the cat. Okay. Enough of that.
Ask her any question you'd like.
What is it like to be inferior to dogs and every other species? I got her.
She declined the comment.
But Moon Knight, I'm still looking forward to this, man. I think this is gonna be a weird show, but I'm looking forward to it. We talked about it a little bit, but Joe, do you remember a lot about Moon Knight?
Not a thing.
It's Batman. If Batman got a bunch of like weird Egyptian spirits inside of him, and he was kind of crazy.
Is this a female character?
It's a guy.
Okay. Okay.
Wait, why
is he in Smallville? Does he have the gold mask on?
No, he's not in Smallville. This is Marvel. It's not DC.
Then don't compare it to Batman.
He's like Batman. He's like a detective, kind of, but he's got superpowers, kind of.
And then he's crazy on top of it. Okay, yeah. I mean, it could be cool.
I'm probably completely butchering this. That's why you asked if it was a woman, because I was like, how did you get lady out of this? Yeah, it'll be weird, but Oscar Isaac, I really like him, and I'm very curious to see. It's kind of like Legion. Remember Legion, Joe? It was that show? It was like Professor X's kid, and every time he like killed somebody or somebody died nearby him, he like absorbed their psyche, kind of that thing. That's what I'm getting the vibe of. Like he's gonna have multiple voices in his head. They're talking to him. He's like, everybody, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up.
Who's Oscar Isaac again now, though?
Poe Dameron. Remember that?
Really, him?
Yeah, that's what we talked about.
Wow.
He's the leader of the Black Squadron or whatnot. Yeah, I like Poe. Oh. I like Poe Dameron. Last thing I wanted to touch on here, the What If series animated, which is a bunch of the former Marvel cast are reprising their roles. Seems like just about everybody. I think it's the last performance of Chadwick Boseman actually playing Black Panther, because they recorded it so long ago. But it's a what if series. Like, for instance, what if a zombie virus broke out and Captain America became a zombie and like a bunch of characters became zombies? That's one episode. What if Peggy Carter got the super soldier serum and she was Captain Britain instead of Captain America, and Steve Rogers was like her weakling little boyfriend? It's great. It's just like they call it what if, so they can really do whatever they want with it. Like, what if Thanos really won, and it's just a whole episode about him, out on his little farm collecting weird fruits. Like, he's just like, yes, a grateful galaxy, or grateful universe. He's like, it did it. But yeah, any interest in that show?
Yeah, I think that one, twisty turny, very interesting. Yeah, I like that.
And that, I feel like that's gonna be really episodic. I doubt any of it's gonna tie into the next ones. But those are the biggest ones. There's like an I Am Groot thing. There's like Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special stuff. I'm not gonna. I'm sure it's fine. I'm not gonna say it's bad. You can be excited about it if you want to be, but at the same time, I feel like we've gone over a lot of this stuff and we've exhausted many things.
I Am Groot.
Joe, out of all the stuff I talked about, Star Wars and Marvel, what's the thing you're most excited about? If you could have it tomorrow, or tonight. I'm smacking my elbow on things because I can. Mm-hmm.
The Obi-Wan Kenobi series with Darth Vader, Anakin in his early days. Yeah, that one for sure.
Good pick.
But if you split them up, I would still say that. But then as far as the Marvel items go, believe it or not, I'm interested in the Hawkeye one.
Oh, cool. Okay, dude, I would love to watch that show with you, because I think it'd just be fun. It'd just be like, oh, look, they're shooting arrows. Aren't they good at it?
Part of me just liked the trailer. I don't know why. It kind of reminded me of like a Liam Neeson movie.
Yeah, I want more, though, that isn't from like his past, because maybe I watched a different one than you, but it looked like a lot of just like shots from like Age of Ultron, and I was like,
I saw some stuff with him on like a Indian reservation and hunting and camo and this and that.
Oh, cool.
Like he kills a skinwalker, it looked like, but I didn't quite understand that part. I don't know. Either way, it looked kind of interesting.
A what? A skinwalker?
Like a person who is in the form of like a wolf, or like it was a coyote.
Yeah. Okay.
Something like that. Yeah, I don't know what exactly happened there. It's kind of broken up and pieced out. I couldn't quite understand it all, but it just had. I'm all about the vibes, man. It had good vibes.
Is there any chance it was fan made and it was from another movie? No, I'm just kidding. It's like, take that piece, they put it in there.
I don't know. Maybe I was watching the wrong thing. But anywho, maybe I was watching the wrong thing, and I'm just hyped about it for no reason.
I'm not saying that's not the case. I'm just saying I've been duped in the past. Maybe that's exactly what it is. I just, like, people have gotten so good about taking moments from other movies and throwing them in. I'm like, oh man, it's a sequel, and it's like they use these clips from 3 other films, and I'm like, why is he always with a sword? Or like, there's always like a character like, why did you typecast bow guy? Like, always using a bow. Yeah, but either way, I'm with you, man. I think for Star Wars,
of course, it had Johnny Cash playing in the background.
Dude, yeah. Are you confirming, or is that the confirmation that it wasn't that one, or maybe it was that one? If it's Johnny Cash, it was like that Logan trailer, and I was like, oh, it's such a perfect song for this. Or
yeah, it was
Way Down We Go. That song that they were playing all the time, from that one band who's Kaleo. They played that a lot.
This was I killed myself today.
I didn't see that trailer, so maybe that's
okay. Never mind. Maybe I was looking
Joe's
at the
like,
wrong thing.
I love it. It's like Logan, but for Hawkeye, dude. And it still could be that. Who knows? But I think for me, Star Wars side, it's hard not to say the Obi-Wan thing, even though the Rogue Squadron and Andor are really appealing to me. If I get any Vader though, that'll immediately put it at the top of my list. Especially if we get those flashbacks. Oh my gosh, Hayden Christensen. Not that he needs redemption, but like, how cool is it that they got him like back for this? It's like,
yes. Yeah, and I don't think Hayden Christensen was bad. It was more so how they wrote that story and like the awkwardness of some of it. Like, it didn't seem plausible. But anyway, yeah. What was the one where we were going to see Sith history 200 years ago?
Ooh, Acolyte. The Acolyte.
Okay, I don't know. That one's kind of teetering at the top too. So depending on what I hear about it,
we should have like separate categories for like trailers we saw and like just pitches we heard. Because I feel like a lot of these are just pitches. They're like, it's one paragraph. It's like, sounds pretty good, right? And it's like, it does. And they're like, all right, make it. They're like, if it doesn't sound good, if people aren't talking, tweeting about it, I'm done. Yeah, but for the Marvel side, Loki, I think it's just going to be weird. And there's been a lot of weird superhero shows out recently, but this is very much in the vein of Umbrella Academy and Legion, and I'm not the biggest fan of those shows. I enjoy them, but Tom Hiddleston, he just looks like he's having so much fun. And
Umbrella Academy, man, I tried watching that. That is so slow.
Oh, real? Okay, it picks up. The first season a little slower. The second, the show is nuts. It's a crazy show. The second season especially, you're like it's a lot going on.
I gotta pick it back up. That's on Amazon Prime, right?
That's a Netflix original.
Oh, it is? Okay.
That's okay. Right. Just so you know. Hey, it's hard. They all run together in my brain. If someone's like, hey, you should watch The Boys, I'm like, that's on Amazon, right? It's like, yes. Yes, it is. But yeah, I think that Loki one is pretty interesting.
It's not on Disney Plus, I'll tell you that.
Oh my gosh, no. I think about that sometimes with some of these. I'm like, they gotta be kind of bloodless. Like, they can only go so far. I just watched Mulan the other night on there, and I was like, this is about as far as they can go on Disney Plus, besides like some of the Simpsons episodes. But just keep that in mind. Anyway, I'm honestly really curious. For people who are listening to this or just watching on YouTube, please comment down below or tweet at us or send it to our Gmail, gocriticalreviews@gmail.com. I want to know what thing you're the most excited about on Star Wars or Marvel side. Tell me why. Tell me why. I just want to know. I'm curious what people are excited about. I think this is a lot of cool news, and especially kind of gives people such as myself and maybe Joe, like people who maybe the ones who put in the 3 years at the beginning for Disney Plus or bought another year recently of Disney Plus, besides The Mandalorian and some of the other cool shows that are on there, like the Imagineering Story. It's giving you more bang for your buck, and I think it's also going up $1. If you didn't pre-buy for the year, it's going up to like $7.99 from $6.99. We will see that steadily climb as more of the stuff gets kind of like, as they're dropping it frequently, I think. They'll just be like, every other month.
The only thing keeping me on Disney Plus is the Star Wars stuff right now.
Yeah, and that's mostly Mandalorian. I think in this first year, that's primarily been that and Clone Wars,
Yeah, there's no other reason for me. I mean, I liked looking at some of the Animal Kingdom stuff and the behind the scenes of that. There's some Nat Geo stuff on there I haven't delved into, which I'm sure I would enjoy. But overall, yeah, I mean, otherwise I would have no reason to keep it. The fact that it bundles with Hulu because they own Fox now is convenient.
Yeah.
So luckily, if Mando didn't exist, I wouldn't be as motivated to go and cancel my subscription because it's bundled and I'm not paying a significant amount, so it's okay. But
yeah, I agree. It's weird to see Anastasia, the animated film on Disney Plus. I looked at it and I'm like, oh my gosh, are you kidding? Because for like a while, that one would crop up as like one of the greatest non-Disney animated films, but now under technicality, it is a Disney animated film, and I'm like, well, I can't even check it out, guys.
Who originally put it out? Fox did?
I believe it was Fox. I could be way off on that. Great movie. Some great voice acting. Check it out. Have you heard there's a rumor in St. Petersburg? I have. It's got Kelsey Grammer in it. Anyway, what were we talking about? Oh, yeah, the streaming stuff. I think it's interesting. It's crazy because, like I said, by the way, you brought up Animal Kingdom. Everybody should watch Disney's Animal Kingdom. It's a great show. There's 8 episodes of it. It's fascinating.
It's a lot about reproduction, and we got to get them to have kids.
Yeah, dude. Well,
a lot about that.
Or I think even more than that, it's like maintenance, and they're like, all right, we got to check out this crocodile got hurt, and we have to show how we get a crocodile into a pen and how we check it out and make sure its tail is okay. And I'm like,
some of that stuff is pretty cool, and that
so
stuff
cool.
behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Some of them get into like, oh, the vultures laid an egg, and we got to try and make it, and then the little pigs, oh, we hope they reproduce. And
Joe's like these endangered species can get right out of this park. I'm sick of them always trying to procreate. If I can't eat them, I don't want them.
There's a lot of focus on it. I'm like, okay. But it is interesting. Like that one elephant that just will not cross the concrete bridge to the other pen. It's like, interesting.
Like, yeah, I was just trying to imagine, like, you're like, all right, we have an elephant that won't come out, on stage here, as it were, and like, it just doesn't like it. You can't go out there and be like, push it forward. It's not like a dog or a cat that you could maybe pick up and be like, come on in. It's like, it's not going to do it. It'll kill us.
Boys, go get the bulldozer. No, the big one. The big one.
It's amazing how well they've trained these things. Obviously, it's a lot of food motivation, but it's like, put your leg up, and it's like moves up like the correct leg, and I'm like, how much training did you have to do? It's just like, oh gosh. Anyway, but yeah, I'm curious to know if people, also there might be people out there who are like, yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Star Wars, and I'm not doing any more Disney Plus until they get all this Marvel stuff on there, which in this first year did it get pushed back? I can't remember if WandaVision got pushed back because of the pandemic, or if it was always going to come out in January. I don't recall. There's a good chance that it all got pushed back, so
yeah,
I don't know. Black Widow should have been out by now, and it wasn't, and maybe that's all part of the domino effect. I don't understand. Anyway, I'm excited about it, but I'm a huge Disney, Star Wars, Marvel guy, as you can probably tell. Look at the shirt I'm wearing. If you're only listening to this, just imagine it says Space Mountain, because it does. But I'm looking forward to all this stuff. I think it's really cool, and I'll probably partake in most all of it. Some of the stuff I'll probably miss. Oh, there's also a bunch of Pixar and Disney Animation Studios related news. We're not going to really dive into it today. If you guys want us to go back, we can. One of those things being the real life story, quote unquote, of the actual Buzz Lightyear in the Toy Stories mythos, but he's going to be voiced by Chris Evans and not Tim Allen. And it's like Buzz Lightyear was an actual pilot or like astronaut, and that's what I was like, this is such a strange, like, I get it. I never thought of Buzz Lightyear being like an actual like person. Like, all right, I was like, I'm looking forward to that.
Are we talking like live action?
Like live? Well, it's CG. It's still like that, but it's like if Buzz Lightyear was a real astronaut, and then they made toys of him, and they're like, "Oh, this is Buzz Lightyear of Star Command," and it's like, but Buzz, whatever his real name is, kind of.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I was like, this is gonna get really crazy really quickly, because Woody was like a toy on a show, but they could be like, Woody was based on a John Wayne type from an old TV series or spaghetti western or something. I'd be like, we're going down the Pixar rabbit hole, baby. Like, I'm all for it. I'm interested to see where they go with it, but Chris Evans coming to play young. I was like, Tim Allen. I wonder if they ever asked him. If they're like, no, you're not going to be the voice. I don't know. Super interested. Very curious. And that Raya, like a dragon, that's going to be good too. Disney Animation Studios, man, they're killing it lately. I'm really interested to see all that stuff. Anyway, oh, by the way, that reminds me, public service announcement. Soul will be releasing Christmas Day for everybody on Disney Plus, and Wonder Woman 1984 will be releasing for everybody on Christmas Day on HBO Max. A lot of stuff's coming out.
That's why I start my free trial.
Yeah, start free trial. And do not get confused. I had somebody ask me this, but HBO Max, that trailer they showed for all those films, those are not all releasing on Christmas. A lot of people thought maybe like Matrix 4 was coming out like in like a week or two as of this recording. I was like, no. HBO Max, they're smart. They're releasing these like one a month kind of thing, and Matrix 4 will be on HBO Max next December. So I was like, that'd be amazing if they dropped this. We hadn't even seen a trailer or something. They're just like, Matrix 4. It's just like, which again, I do want to see that one in the theaters, but Wonder Woman is the same thing. I wish I could see 1984 in a theater, but I'm probably just going to watch it on the old and buy new TV over here. Anyway, Joe, thank you. That was fun to talk about. It's time to wrap up this show with a quick little segment that I like to call, that you like to call, that we like to call
Time Killers.
That's right. It's time for Time Killers. Games we've been playing, movies we've been watching, TV shows we've been viewing, and I'm going to take the lead here, Joe, because I've already dumped more than a day of my life into this thing. It's called Cyberpunk 2077. I still plan on doing a review of this potentially at some point. I like it. It has issues, but I still like it on Series X. So I haven't had as many issues as some have had. I've had a few crashes, some kind of interesting, funny bugs, but besides that, game's still pretty playable. And because of the Series X, the thing loads up like insanely fast. I was talking to Joe about this, but like, if I turned this Xbox Series X on right now and I clicked on the game, it would like immediately put me back in the game. The quick resume feature on the Series X is like, it's like what they wanted with Xbox One. Like some of those games had like Rise, Son of Rome was like, if you pause the game here and then you come back to it, it'll be like mid sword swing or wherever you stopped it. That's what this is like. And it's like, I'm just not used to that at all. And the load times for fast travel are super quick. But yeah, I'm having fun with it. And Joe, I know you've been playing it a little bit too.
I have. I've only dumped about maybe 10 hours total in. Okay. Obviously, I got title screen, and then I played probably 3 hours after that. I like it. It's got GTA Red Dead vibes, so kind of a Rockstar vibe to it. But also it has that CD Projekt Red influence that you can tell. You pick up on things similar to The Witcher and all that. But I feel like, there's quite a bit of freedom in it. Thus far, it seems like a plethora of things to do. And the environment is insane, Night City and everything. Plus there's Badlands beyond, and it's cool. I like it. The only thing that is disheartening is that I know I will eventually maybe not play it as often because I'm hoping, I'm thinking Red Dead Redemption. That multiplayer is coming in like a couple months, baby. And then I saw a video online where it could be anywhere as long as 2022. And I'm like, what? Come again? So I don't know. And don't get me wrong, for people that like this type of game, it stands on its own very well. But like, I can sit and party chat with you and Drew, and we're all playing it, not together but together, and were you doing this or have you done that? What did you think of this? But eventually you get to the point where it's just like you're just silence doing your own thing, and I want it to be like, guys, let's go do this mission, and you can almost kind of ghost recon it, but the missions are good and they're very diverse. There's nothing, it's not as bland seeming as like Red Dead Redemption 2. Obviously, you're stuck in the Wild West there, so like options are a little limited as opposed to Night City with all the technology in 2077. But excuse me, but it's like I said, stands on its own. It's good. The issues suck. I mean, I've had, I think, 4 crashes, maybe 5 in 10 hours.
That's not great.
Not great. Yeah, I can tell it requires a lot to run. And I have the original Xbox One, so maybe in like a few months I'll have a new One X or One Series X.
Series X. Would you settle for a Series S?
Maybe. Okay. I mean, price wise, I probably would. I do everything digitally as it is, as long as it's probably good enough for me. So
it wouldn't have enough hard drive space for Call of Duty. Haha! I'm just kidding. And
probably not. Which, by the way, speaking of news, looking forward to the new season 1 update coming tonight for Warzone and Cold War. Here's one for you guys. I have not even purchased the new Call of Duty Cold War. I did not purchase that game. I didn't feel the need to. I felt like, in my mind, it felt like a step backwards in like quality and graphics, and I really prefer the realism of Modern Warfare. So I don't know. A lot could happen tomorrow. I know a new map and stuff like that. That looks like it's going to be like a limited time mode for I forget what the island's called, but it's going to be the prison island or whatever, and
Alcatraz.
Similar to like what they did in Blackout. But I don't know. I'm interested to see the other changes. Obviously, the new guns come into play and all that, and Warzone is free to play, so I didn't feel the need to buy the game itself. I did play the beta and stuff, and I just didn't like it. Although I lose the chance to level guns quickly. So we'll see what it's all about, but I'm excited for it. I don't think it's going to change how much I play Warzone. I already play it plenty. But Cyberpunk has been a good palate cleanser, I must say. And I'm getting right into my time killers a little bit, but I am still having fun with, like, you and I playing Battlefront. We played some last night, and that game, even if it feels a little repetitious, you're doing the same map and you're defending this, and we play a lot of the co-op just because it's fun to, like, maul people.
Maul people, nice.
I know. Everybody got it. It doesn't have to be said.
I just want to make sure people appreciate it. I do.
Thank you. But it's just fun, and yeah, you don't have to think too hard, and it's a good time. So that game's still great. I hope they bring out another one of similar quality, if not better, but one day.
Yeah, we'll see. I'll wrap up here with the time killers. I saw Mulan, or watched last night. It's on Disney Plus now for everybody. It's finally free with the Disney Plus subscription.
Really?
I thought it was fine. I still enjoyed the animated one the best, but that's because I saw it when I was like 7 or 8, and I watched it recently. I did a commentary on it. I really like that film, and I understand the changes they made in here. I think it's trying to be a little bit more, and I haven't researched the actual story of Hua Mulan, but I'll say this much. It seems like it tried to be much more respectful to it, whereas Mulan from the 90s is like, Eddie Murphy's here and he's a dragon, and there's like a lot of jokes about cross-dressing, which is just not going to fly today. I get it. I totally get that. However, the comedy, which they had a few moments that I actually got a good laugh out of, it's just different, this time around, and it's supposed to be a little more respectful, and it's a little more sullen than that original, or I should say original, but the animated version that I know and enjoy so much. But also, keep this in mind when you're watching this, Joe, if you ever watch it. This is it's very Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon insofar as the action sequences. Only a few people can do this stuff, but there are people who can do things that are completely supernatural, and you just have to be okay with it. Because, like, not everybody can do it, but some people can, and if you're not ready for it, it can be very jarring. You're like, why is she doing, like, a double backflip 20 feet in the air? And you're like, well, she's got the power of chi. She's got the power of chi. So
I might be interested in watching it just to check it out at some point.
Yeah, and I might be wrong about this, but the guy who played Mowgli way back in like a live-action version of Jungle Book is actually the leader of the Huns, but they're not actually called the Huns in this one. I think they tried not to make it straight up Mongolian, or maybe this has been a different group. But by the way, the armor and stuff, and they put a lot of time into this, regardless of how you feel about it. There's a lot of great costuming and some really cool stuff in there, some cool shots. I was like, wow, this does look good. I just missed the music. The music was a big part for me, and I thought they were going to kind of weave it in more instrumentally. They do once in a while, but if you love those songs, this is not the musical. This is not. They're not singing. The army isn't singing. They're not doing "Be a Man." They're not doing that. But you do get Donnie Yen, which, Joe, I know you like Donnie Yen. He's he's Chirrut from Rogue One. He's like the guy who wants to be a Jedi, but he's not a Jedi. He's in there. It's really funny because they have like their training for a lot of it. It's like this whole army of people set up watching Donnie Yen doing all this crazy stuff with a sword super fast. And I was like, if I would be there in that army, I'd like raise my hand and I'd be like, excuse me, I know this is training, but can you slow down? Because I can't keep up with your movements. Because he's just like spinning a sword as fast as he can all around his body. And I'm like, I can't. Is this training? They're all just standing there quietly watching him do this amazing show. I'm like, what are they learning from this? I was like, is this how they're all supposed to fight? They just like run up the Huns, they're just like, which would be cool. That'd be dope. But so if you like Donnie Yen and some other pretty prominent Chinese actors, along with Jet Li, who's in it. I didn't recognize him at first, but he is in this film. He doesn't get a lot of play, but he gets just enough. He gets just a little bit in there. So yeah, check it out. And also, like I said, you have to lean into the mysticism. Some people can grab like a cape or a piece of fabric and use it as a whip. How does it make sense? Don't worry about it. They just can. Don't you just they do it. They can do it. Yeah. Anyway, check it out. And actually, I think I'm potentially doing something with another channel about Mulan. So if you want to see me go like really deep dive into this, It's coming up soon. It's not on this channel, though. Or if you're listening to this, it's going to be on a different one. I was invited, Joe. Somebody wants to talk about this with me. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I didn't even pay him. Anyway, we're going to wrap up here, finally, with my favorite segment of the show, community feedback.
And questions.
I'm batting it back and forth, because that's what a good host does, Joe. I asked our lovely Legionnaires what they're most excited about, because I wanted to see beforehand if people were really losing their minds over all this Star Wars Marvel news. And again, if you missed out on that, please post. I really do want to hear. I honestly do. This one comes in from a guy who you guys might know from Game Sharks, at Lang_Corey, or Corey Lang, my buddy. Hi, Corey.
Corey.
I don't know if he's watching this, but he's really into Willow. They talked about this was another Disney, like the studio side of it. They're doing a sequel to Willow, 1980s fantasy film.
Yeah. Haley talks about that movie now and again. Her sister's name is Willow.
Oh, okay. So I was like, some people, I feel like you either know about Willow or you don't, and if you know about it, you love it. Like, you're like,
there's some line in there where they say Willow. It's like really weird. Oh. And Haley jokes about it now and again.
Sounds right.
Yeah.
He also said Moon Knight, which I'm not surprised about. Corey has talked about. He wants a Moon Knight video game. Like, I want a Ghost Rider video game. He wants it that badly.
Ghost Rider, I'm surprised there's no announcement for
something. Listen to me, right? A Multiverse of Madness has so much potential. Just put him in there as the straight man. I'm sorry. I just think you get Doctor Strange and Ghost Rider in a room. They're detective buddies. Indiana Jones also got an update, and he said Indiana Jones he's excited about. That's the 5th installment. I really wouldn't be surprised to see that one be very similar to Raiders and Last Crusade. That's how Indiana Jones goes. It's like Indiana Jones film, and then kind of like we're doing something different. Indiana Jones film, we're doing something different. Fantastic Four, and he also said, and Obi-Wan. Corey, great picks. All those are good. I'm sorry I didn't talk a lot about the Disney like animation or Disney like movie studio side of things, but there is so much on that list. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's just too much. So yeah, all that stuff and more coming to Disney Plus and to theaters eventually. But oh my goodness, if you have a Disney Plus subscription or you're thinking about getting one in the future, that thing I think it really will go up in price over time. It's already going up $1 in the first year. But if you are interested in this stuff, I don't know if you can really get grandfathered in at a lower price, but if you're kind of like, I would rather wait to watch all this stuff kind of and binge it all. You know, you wait a couple years and you get that free week trial or month trial or whatever it is to Disney Plus, and you would have a premium thing to watch every night for a month. Like you would have something just boom, boom. But like if you watched, 2 or 3 seasons of The Mandalorian, and then you watched Ahsoka, and then you watched, Loki, and it's just like boom, boom. Like there's a lot coming to Disney Plus. So again, I'm already there. I think Joe might stick around because of some of this stuff. Maybe you dip in and out. I don't know.
It's what they needed to do to get me to stay, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's what they need to do. And it's really interesting because it also forces the other streaming services to really kick it up a notch because, this is stuff that's only going to be on Disney Plus, just like HBO Max will have stuff that's only on HBO Max. So Netflix and Amazon, they're all going to start producing even more of their own original content. We're going to see a streaming war, Joe, unlike that we've ever seen before, because streaming is still kind of new as of this recording. Anyway. But I appreciate everybody listening to the show. Thank you so much for writing in. Corey, thank you for writing in. And guys, you can seriously write in anytime on Twitter, or at GoCritical or at JimmyGood013, or at our Gmail, which is just gocriticalreviews@gmail.com. If you use the hashtag Critical Podcast or just say, this is a question for the podcast, that would be great. I would love to hear from you, or just feedback or comments. However, Joe, where are you on Twitter? If they want to send something to you, you never know.
Just had to make me look it up, don't you?
I know what it is. It's
at JoeLever_627. That's
correct.
Lever just like Beaver, only with an L.
I paused for that just because I don't know if you want to say it or not. You don't have to say it. I was just like,
no,
I'm just gonna...
I do. And for those that are new or don't, yeah, I just think it solidifies it. Eliminate the typos, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I hear you.
Not like lever soap or lever soap.
Yeah,
and it's not double E. It's just like Beaver, only with an L.
That's true. Also, and I always say this because I don't know how many people actually make it to the end of the show, but seriously, it's not that I'm running out of ideas. I just want to hear what you guys want us to talk about, because if you guys don't tell me, I will keep making Lord of the Rings things. Like, it will just happen. Like, I'll just keep doing, like, just Hobbit stuff and random guests, and Joe and I are just talking about news. The show is all over the place, Joe, is what I'm trying to say, and I think it's great. I don't know, I like it because it's our show, baby.
It's
just like,
diverse.
It's diverse. You never know what you're gonna get. It's like a chef special. You're like, chef, make me whatever you got, and they're like, all right, I guess
it's right up. That stuff we were gonna throw out, George. Grab that.
It's au jus. All you're getting is a big glass of au jus. No, it's just drink it. It's kind of chunky. Anyway, if you want to support us, consider checking out. We've got Instagram, we've got TikTok, we've got Spreadshirt, we've got GoCriticalReviews.com that I should probably be better about updating. But Katie's been posting on our Instagram and TikTok and stuff like that. So if you want to see little clips from various shows that I've been working on, or videos I've been making, or just little updates, that's a great place to do so. But obviously, the greatest thing you can do for us is to share us around. That helps so dang much. We really appreciate that. Seriously, just share us with a friend. Share us on Facebook. It's a free thing you can do. It helps a lot. Call to action. There you go. And this show is brought to you by our lovely Patreon members, our patrons, our legionnaires over there. Thank you guys so much to people who are donating or continuing to donate, regardless of all the crazy things that I end up making, which is at least one podcast a week and probably a video, which in this weird pandemic time, Joe, I'm making stuff. We got the green screen. It's getting nuts over there. I got a new video coming out that should be out by the time that this video goes up, which is another Lord of the Rings focus video. I gave it 20 years, but I was like, all right, you know what? I'm going to start making videos about this because nobody else was. No, I'm just kidding. There are the Lord of the Rings channels. Anyway, thank you to our patrons. I appreciate you. If you guys are donating $5 and up, get your name here at the end. And I don't know. It just means a lot that anybody watches that. And I'm also on Twitch, like usually once or twice a week. I'm doing a lot of things. Twitch.tv/criticalreviews. There. I think I've said everything, Joe. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we wrap up the show? Just yelling over here like a crazy madman.
Nothing for me, gang.
All right. Excellent. Well, Joe, thank you for being on to talk about all this stuff. Exciting times. For sure, as it always is, but yeah, I'm looking forward to the future. It'll be great to talk about this with you more, and maybe look back on this and be like, man, the Acolyte, it was the greatest thing we've ever seen in our lives, and we didn't even know. Like,
actually, that's probably one of the things I'm most looking forward to. That'll be fun, fun discussions to be had. Yeah,
so for sure. Yeah, well, yeah. Dude, thank you, appreciate you, and I appreciate you, our viewers and or listeners. And until next week, next time, just remember to adapt and overcome.